78 kilograms contested over three-minute rounds. Representing Bloodline Gym with an undefeated professional record. Out of the blue corner, your first fighter, Matt VLADER. His opponent, fighting out of the red corner, with a record of 7 wins, 2 losses, fighting out of KO Next Generation, otherwise known as Refuse to Lose, Ryan CAFANE.
So the action goes on tonight. 78 representing KO Next Gen, edge and experience, but an undefeated guy. From the Minotaur Gym, we have our stats corrected and amended there. Matt VLADER.
Yeah, Matt will have a distinct height advantage as well. 6'2" or 6'3" against the 5'9" of Ryan CAFANE. But what's interesting here is the way that media has influenced both. Matt started at age 12 watching UFC videos, and 2 weeks later he was in a kickboxing gym. Ryan started watching Kung Fu films and started Wing Chun in his teens.
Gotta love it. And what I love about CAFANE is he kind of is a self-professed awkward counter fighter. He's a guy who will go out there, lay traps, try to see what you're gonna do, and then of course find an opening, which to me, you know, speaking to Crew Sam and the team, is one of the things that they really pride themselves on being able to do. They say we go out there and we don't necessarily train for an individual opponent. We train our own fighters to have options. We're option fighters. CAFANE there in the red. But Matt from Hemel Hempstead, 6'2" if he's cheating, he said. 6'1" if he's slouching. Undefeated in pro and amateur K1, so 26 years of age, and really a sterling performance at every opportunity so far for him.
Well, he said what motivates him is he hates the thought of losing in front of the friends that he's brought to watch him. And he has no style. He feels he's very adaptable and will go with the flow. In contrast, Ryan CAFANE had a very serious injury 3 years ago, and he said he's just still happy to be here, still training, still fighting.
And Matt also told us in pre-fight interview, I'm not going out there with a game plan either. I'm going to go out there and show I have the better fight IQ. So adaptation is the word tonight, and a very cerebral approach from both fighters, according to them in their own words at least.
Exactly, and Matt feels that he'll have the advantage because he said that he feels that Ryan will rush in and I will catch him rushing in and punish him for that.
So southpaw for CAFANE, orthodox for Matt.
Now, I might be wrong, Chris, but I think there might also be a new baby in the CAFANE house, because he was talking before the bout in the interval about not getting sleep for the last 3 days.
And both guys really looking to take their next step in their career. And what a great platform to do it on, you know? Next generation combat, you got 2 great teams, champions in both stables. So bragging rights on the line.
Well, as we said, for Matt is to continue that unbeaten run, and as said, we know what fuels him, the desire to please the travelling fans that come with him and keep that unbeaten record. And when you talk to him, you realise that actually he's a very witty guy, he's a very funny man. He says there is no personal animosity whatsoever towards Ryan. He just wants the win, he just wants to evolve and move on and stay unbeaten.
Yeah, he wouldn't tell us about his secret techniques or his favorite combos. So you got to pay. It's pay-per-view. You talk about this going on pay-per-view, you're going to have to give me some money to show you that.
And he does say that if he does lose and Ryan wins, you better watch out for my mum. That's the sort of humor this man has got. Oh, big left hand there from Matt as he backed Ryan up.
Good connection there. That rear hand, we were seeing that earlier. Both fighters looking to land that cross. the backhand. And actually, Matt went southpaw momentarily. That was a very interesting swap.
You beat me to that, Chris. He does that quite naturally. He switches, and again, depending on what technique he really wants to throw, so you know when he wants to throw that power technique, off the left leg, he switches to the southpaw.
And he loaded up beautifully for that short left hand. I think the stance swapping has been an effective tactic, or the stutter stepping. I mean, he uses a little bit of upper body movement or some feints and fakes, and every single time he moves forward or throws a technique from the rear kick, rear hand, he's loading up for power or the exit. So everything just very educated, but he got clipped there. He can't be a stationary target. CAFANE is dangerous. CAFANE can find headspace, I'm convinced.
Well, good opening round for both men there, and they had a good look at each other. And I felt, Chris, that Ryan CAFANE dealt very well with the height difference. Matt, as we said, remained cool, remained calm. Now, Ryan CAFANE is bleeding. I know we've got the replay on, but the referee has got the doctor into the ring because Ryan CAFANE, is bleeding above the left eye, Chris. I mean, we're watching the replays here from a very close technical round between two very good men. But while we're doing that, the doctor, I think he's saying it's okay for Ryan to continue.
So some very interesting stuff there on the replay. It seemed to me that CAFANE was kind of in a more often than not, kind of caught out of position in some of those exchanges. Not to any catastrophic effect, but he broke stance a couple of times. And when he was kind of playing around, it seemed to me like Matt was a little bit more organized in where he threw techniques from, where he defended from, how he moved. So CAFANE comfortable in the chaos and loves to create that chaos when he throws, but Matt maybe a little bit more technical and edging it on the scorecards for me.
I agree with you there, and everything you said there, Chris, now is a low blow. But as you can see, Ryan CAFANE bleeding from the left eye, and there's a swelling that's open slightly below the right eye as well. So tough times for the KO Next Generation gym fighter. Not making a fuss as you'd expect, but the adrenaline means the blood's flowing freely again.
It was a solid low kick. I love how he stutter stepped and then threw that outside kick to the leg. CAFANE is quick. Oh, nice. Oh, that was a good straight left. Straight left to a right there from CAFANE lands.
Matt felt that as well, Chris. He did well to disguise it, but he really felt that. And as I said, CAFANE has dealt with the height difference very well indeed.
Matt, I'm sorry I interrupted you, Mal. Go ahead.
There's just a quiet assuredness about Matt VLADER, isn't there?
Yeah, that was what I was going to pick up on. You know, it's always funny when a guy says, I don't want to go out there and get embarrassed and have my mom get upset, let alone my friends. That shows kind of some premeditation, if you will. He's clearly very well prepared to go in and is comfortable with what's at stake, I guess, if I could put it that way, which says a lot about a fighter. So,
you know, and the reason I said that was you mentioned it was a superb combination from Ryan CAFANE, but when you do that, I always look at the person that it's landed on, and the way he quickly shrugged it off and got back to his technique as if it didn't happen.
I'd like to see him lead with the jab a little bit more. He's got the reach. He's setting up that high kick. But when CAFANE gets inside, he throws punches from really odd angles, difficult to track. And that's one of the ways that he can go out there and catch you cold.
Well, this is the thing. That's what I said. For me, Ryan CAFANE has dealt very well with this height difference and a very good technical man. And CAFANE has taken that in his stride and made a real contest of it.
One-two there lands for CAFANE. Good body kick there. CAFANE making this one a fight in a phone booth. For me, that's been a better round.
What he does well, Chris, is he ignores the good work from Matt to get inside and throw those shots you're on about from those angles. He'll let Matt do his work like this and still come forward. Look, there you go. He'll still come forward and fire back. And that's been working in his favor. It's a dangerous tactic, but it's worked for him here in the second round. And again, Chris, you can see the way that Matt switches regularly from orthodox to southpaw and back. Now, there's two types of fighter that do that. Ones that know what they're doing and idiots. And he knows what he's doing, because the ones that switch from orthodox to southpaw that don't, they're badly schooled. This man is well schooled and knows exactly what he's doing.
He's looking to land that either that white cross or the left cross when he goes southpaw. He throws it from way back as well, and he kind of draws his head back and then comes in hard because he knows and sort of anticipates that CAFANE is going to blitz in and come straight. What a great fight. What a strategic fight. It's been an exciting fight. Both guys are taking risks, but they're calculated risks.
Chris, I couldn't have summed it up better. For me, this is perfectly timed because you look at this, Matt knows how to use that height and reach advantage, and Ryan, for his part, knows how to negate it. And every time Matt looks to get up ahead of steam, Ryan will come in, take those shots, and get his fast hands going. I think you mentioned it in round one. Ryan's hands are deceptively fast, and he's accurate with it. They're both bloodied now because if you look at Ryan, it's high on the forehead for him. Sorry, for Matt. Ryan, it's the damage to the 2 eyes that he'll just have to work on. But they've both found the answers to the other style, which has made it such an engaging bout.
I hate to say it at this point, Malcolm, but 2 words: tie fight.
Yeah, I mean, it is. And as I said, Matt, it's not like Matt doesn't know how to use his long limbs. As I said, and I wasn't being funny, when I've watched people in the past switch from orthodox to southpaw, they either know exactly what they're doing or they're just badly schooled. Matt knows exactly what he's doing, and yet Ryan is still dealing very well with it.
So 3rd and final round here, Next Generation Combat Pro K1. 3 minutes on the clock. Chris Hoekstra alongside Malcolm Martin. Great to be with you folks, watching worldwide on our stream. And what an awesome, breathtaking, kind of edge of your seat fight between these 2 guys.
And there's the speed of Ryan. What I like is when we both know you've got to close the gap against a taller man. And when Ryan decides to come in, he does it fast, he does it confidently, and there's no messing around. You can't afford to, having said that, sharp right from Matt.
Oh, that was solid. That was solid, but Matt's breathing. He looks tired. Ryan CAFANE took this camp very seriously. I mean, he came back from catastrophic injury. After 3 years, he told us, I'm super grateful to be able to fight, and he's fighting like it's his last night in the ring on earth.
And he did say that this camp was all about strength and conditioning, and I think that's really paying off now, because if he wasn't well prepared, he's against the sort of guy that will pick you apart and hurt you. As it is, here, look, every time Matt scores and scores well, what does Ryan do? He steps in, not out. That's key sometimes, and look, now he's forcing the issue. Because, Chris, when you get stung, your natural instinct is to tuck up and take a step back. When you're against a taller man, I tell my own fighters, step in, not out. And Ryan does that so well.
But it's shots like that, those looping shots when he turns, changes the angle. Matt did a really good job of tagging him there.
This is what I said to you. Both men know what they're doing. This is the great thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one thing to kind of step in and take the inertia off a strike, but it's the other thing to step in and then realize the guy's just pivoted and then cracked you. So there's a lot of adaptation here. Wild fight.
This, for me, is one of the fights of the night. I've got to be honest, because of both men's tactics, the way they've both adapted, and neither can still get the ascendancy. That's the great thing about this.
And both guys are a little busted up as well. I mean, CAFANE is not gun shy. That's the crazy thing. You get cut like that, and sometimes you get a little worried. If he goes to work on me, is he going to make it worse? Could he force a stoppage? He might not be out of this fight, but under the doctor's rulings, you know, you can be out of this fight. And right now, both guys are really continuing to pour on the pressure. 30 seconds just over.
What's impressed me about Ryan is when he decides to step in, he steps in. And then when he does his work, defensively, he steps forward again inside the longer limbs of Matt. He doesn't do his work and then step out to get caught on the way out. You rarely see, you mentioned it earlier about how important it is when you go in to engage and then you disengage. He doesn't disengage, he pushes forward.
I think he probably lost that first round, but maybe came back to steal 2 and 3. I mean, it's easy for me to pass my kind of humble opinion on comms. You know, we're not sitting here scoring a fight, but that was a close fight. I think CAFANE maybe did just enough. Amazing. And what a feather in the cap as well. An undefeated guy like Matt VLADER, both guys putting it all on the line, Malcolm. How do you see it?
Chris, that was not only a close fight, that was a great fight. And from what you've said, their body language reinforced your saying. Ryan CAFANE punched the air and put his hand straight up. Matt VLADER walked back to his corner shaking his head. Now the corner are clever. They immediately picked him up and said, you're the winner, just in case the judges haven't finished doing their scorecards. But the initial body language, Ryan was immediately up, pumping both fists in the air. Matt was walking back to his corner, shaking his head, and look at his body language now. He's still unhappy. He has no reason to be. Both these men continually adapted throughout that bout to make it so good. Now, from what Chris Hoekstra said, he may have a point here, and I'm just going by body language of the two men. I feel that Ryan thinks he's won it, and I've got a feeling that Matt also feels that Ryan might have won it, but what a great bout that was. For me, fight of the night so far.
All right, London, we're getting the scorecards in. That was candidate for fight of the night once more, Ryan CAFANE and Matt VLADER. Give it up for all these gents. So, ladies and gentlemen, we go the distance tonight. All 3 rounds in the books. Therefore, to the judges' scorecards. And we have a split decision. Judge number 1 at ringside sees the contest in favor of your fighter from the red corner, Ryan CAFANE. Judge number 2 has the bout in favor of Matt VLADER in the blue corner. And your winner tonight, with the verdict, the 3rd judge sees the contest in favor of your fighter from the red corner.
Yes, no complaints from Matt. It was close. It was brilliant. It was a superb bout. But the body language of both men at the end of that bout, at the very moment the bell rang, told you everything you needed to know.